chord progressions in a few minutes. Let's go. So, what is a chord progression? A chord progression is just a really fundamental thing when it comes to musical creation. There are lots and lots of songs composed purely of simple chord progression, like this one.
Find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be.
When composing a song, it's a great idea to start with a chord progression. Once you established a beautiful chord progression, you can build on top of it, or recycle and reuse the notes you've used for your particular progression. Let me give you an example. Imagine having different colored blocks. Each color represents a different chord. When you put the blocks together in a certain order, it creates a progression that can make a song sound happy, sad, or anything in between. The order of the blocks is what creates the progression, and what ultimately determines the mood and the feeling of the whole track. It's like building with blocks to make a musical story. It's like building with blocks to make a musical story. There are two extremes when it comes to emotions. One extreme is happy, the other extreme is sad. Every other emotion is somewhere in between. Creating a chord progression in a specific mood is fairly simple. First, you need to find out in what direction you want to go. Let's say we want to create a happy chord. There are two factors that determine how a chord is going to sound like. First, we need to take a look at the scale. The major scale is considered to be more positive and more uplifting than the minor scale. Second, we will need to think about the melodic movement. The melodic movement is fairly simple to understand. Are my chords ascending or descending? If my chords are ascending, they are making an upward movement. They are going up. If my chords are descending, they are going down. You could clearly hear the difference on these two examples. First one, the ascending, was way more happy, way more joyful, way more positive than the second one. The descending chord progression was feeling completely different. It conveyed a way deeper and more melancholic or sad kind of feeling. In the third example, we have a mix of feelings. We can use a major scale to make it more happy, or a minor scale to make it more sad. In this example, I just used the chord progression from Let It Be by the Beatles. You already heard the song in the intro. It's a major chord with a chord progression that has two ascending chords and two descending chords, making it fit somewhere in the middle of the emotional spectrum. It's brilliant that it works this way. Like, don't overcomplicate music theory. Concepts like this are so simple and they just work and make sense. It even feels a bit intuitive building a good chord progression once you get the hang of it. We went from this to this. If you want to support me and simultaneously boost up your production game, you can check out my website to get in-depth and structured courses on almost any topic of production, like composing, mixing, or music theory. Thanks. Now back to the video. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to spice your chord progressions up. You can use several techniques to give it a bit more interest, to make it flow smoother from one chord to another, or to just add some variation to these good old triads. What can we do? First, I'd like to add a 7th or 9th. We are currently in the C major scale. We are only allowed to play the white keys. All the white keys. It's a simple scale. It sounds like this without the 7th, and with like this. As you can hear, it gives it a little bit more of a chill, vibey character. If we add the 9th, the D, it sounds like this. Gives it a little touch on the higher spectrum there. I'd like to keep the 7th chord for now. Now I'm applying this principle to every other chord in our progression. F, G, E. We went from this to this. It is just a small nuanced change, but trust me, this makes a big difference in terms of the touch of your music. What else can we do? We might use what's called an inversion. What is an inversion? An inversion is just taking a note, putting it one octave higher, like this, or lower, like this. A commonly used technique on chords is the lowering of the root note. Now we put it one octave down, like this. The chord progression went from this to this. Now it sounds a little bit more open. There's something I don't like. There's the transition from the first chord to the second chord. I think the second chord sounds a bit too bright. We delete the 7th, add another G. Now it sounds like this. It's just a little bit more of a smoother transition right now. To make a chord flow into another chord with a little bit of movement, we could add transition notes at the end of a chord, like here for example. And here. And here. Now it sounds like this. As you can hear, it gives the chord progression a little bit more momentum. You can shorten or lengthen or put it anywhere you like to. You could even like shift it around, put it off grid a little bit to create more of a organic feeling. This is how actual piano players tend to play. They are not 100% on a grid. They are not 100% on a grid. It's just human to make like more little mistakes. And it's not really a mistake. It just makes the sound way more interesting. So we put it here. And this one we put it a little bit more early. This one a little bit late. It's a little bit late as well. And we can apply the same principle on the whole chord, making it a bit more organic by adjusting the place of the note. Like this, for example. Now it sounds like this. Before, it was like this. You can't really hear a big difference, but trust me, all these small nuanced things pile up to create something way more professional. Let's take a listen to the whole thing. Excuse me for my face cam being in a way. Let's take a listen now. To make it even more natural, we can change the volume of the individual notes. As you can hear, it's a completely different sound right now. Before, the pianist had just played like this. And now the pianist is playing with a bit more feeling, like this. Not just smashing the keys with the same volume all the time. We went from this to this. If you're a bit lazy or you want to get it done much quicker, you can select everything and press Command R. It opens up this randomizer. There you can play around with the velocity and you can select a random seed until something pops up that you like. It even sounds better than the manually adjusted one I did. I didn't put much effort in my manually adjusted, so I'm using this as it even sounds a bit better right now. What else can we do? We can move out of our key. So we are not strictly bound to our key. We can make small adjustments to the chords, like moving the C from C5 to, let's say, A sharp or B flat. This might change the whole feel of the track. And it's just up to you if you like it or not, if it's fitting for the style of track you're aiming for. We went from this Let's put another dissonant key right here, A sharp, to create a little bit more momentum at the end there and a little bit more spice. And now it sounds like this with the off key pattern. Okay, now from here on it's time to experiment with it. Be creative, do something that's typical for your genre, and I don't know, like create melody for example, get creative with it and come up with something awesome. Alright, that's it for the video. I hope you learned something. If you did, drop a like, comment, act in favor of the algorithm, like just get YouTube to notice me so my videos can reach more people than like 200 or some. That's it for now. Have a good day, evening, morning. Hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Get a deal.
Grab a big chunk of knowledge in my course, link in the description below.